Stand up, stop, stand up, stop, stop, stand up, stop, stand up, stop, stop, stand up, stop, stand up. What up, peoples? Welcome to the Even People Show. I think my camera is a little high. Camera, why are you a little high? Stop playing. Welcome to the Even People Show, everybody. I have an awesome show for you today. I'm by myself today. I love being by myself because I get to do whatever I want to do, mate. And we're gonna do that today. Today we're gonna talk about, we're gonna talk about some B-side poetry for sure. We're also going to talk about poetry and mental wellness or just processes of dealing with mental wellness. Okay. So before we go any further, I just want to thank everybody for being with me here tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So let's rock and roll. Welcome back to the Even People Show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Martin Matthews. Thank you for joining me today. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about poetry, mental wellness a little bit today. We're going to look up at some B-side poems. And if you've never seen one of the B-side poem show before, I've done this a couple of times. And from time to time, I like to do it because I have my loyal fans out there that watch the show over and over. I have people out there that saw my book or got my book like days after it went on the market. So from time to time, I like to have some B-side shows, which B-side simply referring to poems that I did not include in the book. They're poems that I wrote, had written, or have written since, and don't intend to publish. So I figured I'd share them this way so that they can see, they can still get some new material because they've been reading the book so diligently for a while. All right, so we're going to look at some of those later on in the show today. To get us started, though, oh, there's one more thing I want to say. Last week's show, Camelia Carter talking about a realtor talking about buying a house, things you need to look for, things you need to do, things you need to not do, options that are available to you. If you missed that show, you need to check it out. That was actually a really cool show. I got a lot of feedback from that show. Delon Dixon, big up yourself, my youth. You don't know. All right, so we're gonna talk about poetry and mental wellness, right? Um, but more importantly, I want you to look at it from the standpoint of just expressing your inner thoughts in a constructive way for mental wellness. Okay? Expressing your inner thoughts in a constructive way for mental wellness. Now, why am I talking about this at all? Why am I even interested in advocating poetry for mental wellness? Why am I even advocating, people working through things they have or may not have? The issue is people get stuck. People get emotionally stuck. And it could be several reasons that get you stuck. Let's talk about some of those. You could be stuck emotionally because of your upbringing, just socialization and the woes that come with that sometimes. You could have a missing parent, the issues that that can cause in the home. You could have an abusive parent. You could have some molestation issues, whether from a parent or from some other family member. You could have suffered some abandonment issues when one of your parent or somebody else left. So we're talking about getting stuck, how you get stuck, how your emotions get stuck. And the point I'm going to keep reiterating as the show goes on is what I want you to understand is you have to actually, in a constructive way, work through these things. Okay, because burying them and reacting to them, um, not realizing they're there and reacting to them, responding to them in a negative way that it negatively affects the people around you, is not what dealing with it looks like. And all of you can identify somebody like this. Think about it. Do you know somebody that you ever said about them, boy, him always miserably, or boy, she always miserably? Just somebody that always seems to be upset, somebody that's always mad, somebody that never has a positive word to say, somebody that always seems to just have something going on with them and they never seem to quite be okay. What I'm saying is that some of the times these things are tied to unresolved emotional issues. I'm saying that some of these issues are stemming from childhood and can be as a result of a missing parent, an abusive parent, molestation, abandonment, and several hosts of other things that can come in. What I'm advocating is that finding a constructive, positive way to process these thoughts, to work through them, is what we need to all be aspiring toward. And I'm also saying that writing poetry, reading poetry, and some other things that we're going to mention in the show can be vehicles that can get this done for you. Now, let's look at other ways for people getting stuck, or other ways that people get emotionally stuck. You have romantic relationships. So we talked about upbringing. Now we're moving into romantic relationships. And there's one thing about this that I'm going to point out right now. You know what? Let me carry on first. Romantic relationships, and I categorize those. We have abuse, and abuse can be financial, it can be emotional, it can be physical abuse. It could be a matter of you getting divorced or separated from whomever your significant other is or was. Or you could just be in a toxic relationship, a relationship that both people involved knows that they're better off not being in, but somehow they're still in it. And those things can create an overwhelming amount um, of emotional issues that needs to get worked through. And we see it every day. We see every day on the news, even some of the byproducts that can come off these issues not being resolved. You know what I mean? Sometimes because it is unresolved, it comes out in violent outbursts. So when you should have taken the time to work through something, you waited like a volcano and waited until the pressure build and the pressure build and the pressure build, and then we have an eruption. And now you're on the news because you did this, that, or the other thing, because you didn't take the time you needed to process when you should have been processing. You didn't talk to someone. The narrative that I put up for the show said you might need therapy, but if you don't have therapy, you might want to read some poetry or find some other constructive way to work through the things that you are going through or the things that you have gone through so that you can become functional yourself, or you can resume being functional because you left it somewhere in the past when whatever happened to you. What I was going to point out before was abuse. Sometimes when we hear abuse, we only think abuse goes one way. We only think in a relationship setting, abuse is only experienced by the woman at the hand of the man. And this is not so. A lot of times there is emotional abuse that men go through at the hands of their significant other. And it could be something not as overt as some of the things that would come to mind when you hear abuse, but we're talking about somebody just using their emotions, using almost like being a bully almost, without roughing you up, but they're being an emotional bully. They are using they're using your emotions to take control of you and to guide your behavior into things you would not normally want to be doing because they know how you feel about them, right? It is still abuse. It is still a destructive use of emotion on another person. It still constitutes abuse. Yeah. So if you weren't even thinking about it like that way, and the other ones are more easily identifiable, the divorce and the shenanigans that usually comes with that. being in a toxic relationship, these things jumps right out at you. And yes, you can very much get stuck. You see people all the time. They say, you're on the rebound. They use terms like somebody being on the rebound, or they use term like somebody's serial dating or whatever. Shernette Higgins Clark, the iconic advisor, Bless Up Yourself. Um, we're talking about using poetry, using constructive ways to work through emotional issues. The first thing I looked at was upbringing and socialization and the woes associated with that. We're now moved on to romantic relationships and the issues that are in that avenue that can get you emotionally stuck. And like I said, some of the more obvious ones, divorce, toxic relationships. And I was zooming in for a minute. Bless up yourself, kid, about you in New York. Um, we were dealing with just some of the times, some of the facts that a lot of times we look at abuse in a relationship from one way, from a man abusing a woman. And I was saying that that is not always the case, especially when you're dealing with emotional abuse. Sometimes, the woman, she withholds. Sometimes she's being an emotional bully on the man as it relates to wanting him to do stuff, or she has other ways of manipulating his thoughts and feelings because she knows how he feels about her. All these things constitute abuse. Like I think I put it just now, it is when you are exerting your emotions, or you're using someone else's emotions to manipulate their actions for your own purpose. It's abuse, and it's out there. Um, the last thing I want to touch on real quick is friendships, abuse within friendships. So I was talking to a friend of mine very recently, and I was telling them that another friend asked me, if such and such ever happened to you, who would you call? And I told them the person I'd call, and I was telling the person whose name I called, and I was like, yeah, I'd call you, and I know you do what I needed you to do, not even because of how long we've been friends or whatever. I just know that you are that type of friend. You are a genuine person. You know what I mean? And I was like, if my friends are not like that, what is the point? You know what I mean? So with friendships and emotional abuse from a friendship standpoint, it's I think I coined it as subtle influences that are leading you in the wrong direction emotionally. Supportive versus destructive. It's just subtle influences that are leading you down a path you don't want to go. You have one friend and them just trifling. Like it's almost like the energy that they're on all the time is just their energy is just off. It's almost like they're always trying to get you into something that you really don't want to do. And sometimes because of the friendship, they'll lean on the friendship. They'll lean on the fact that you're friends, and they'll cry, and sometimes they'll this, and sometimes they'll bully, and they'll push, and they'll pull, trying to get you down a path they know you don't really want to go. You don't really want to go, but because of the friendship, you allow yourself to be taken there anyway. um all these things, there's also work and church and situations that you're in, different connections that we have, where we can encounter situations that leave us emotionally stuck, where we have things that we should have worked through that we are not working through. And as a result of those things, we are now doing other things in ways that is not conducive to us. Okay, so like I said, even in a case of, somebody experiencing some traumatic experience as a child, and because of that, their development emotionally got stunted or developed along a pathway that is not conducive. And in their adult life, because they haven't worked through these things, they're still suffering from it. They're still being what the version of them you're seeing is a byproduct of them having experienced that thing, because they still have not worked through it. So let's look at some getting unstuck options here. Um, I say poetry because that's my vehicle of getting unstuck. When I need to process thoughts in my head, that is what I do. I write. You know what I mean? You can sing, you can dance, you can do something creative. Most importantly, it has to get processed, because if it doesn't get processed, it lingers, and you now are a byproduct of that. The behaviors that you're exhibiting are byproducts of that thing that you're at that point that you are stuck at emotionally. All right. Now, any medium that allows you to constructively express the emotion that you are stuck on or struggling with. Any medium that allows you to constructively express the emotion um, that you are stuck on or struggling with, that is what you want to work toward. And it is you have to get that going, or you're gonna be stuck. People have been stuck forever. I'm telling you. You have that auntie, you have that uncle, you have that family friend that's just always miserable. They're always upset. They're always mad all the time. They're mad, right? Or somebody who's just to the extreme of any type of behavior. And a lot of times, some of these things are stemming from the fact that they had some experience that left such a mark on them that they can't get past it. They are stuck on it. And because they're refusing or they're not finding constructive ways to work through it, they're now a byproduct of that. So if and if it's something they experience in adulthood, like a relationship, like a toxic relationship, and you see them after, and after they're just so closed off and everything, the person you see after it's a different person than the person you saw before. It's a whole nother person because they got emotionally stuck at a point where they had something that needed to be worked through and it was never worked through. And now their entire existence is as a byproduct of that point which they got stuck at. It's almost like, say, it's a relationship. It's almost like every relationship they had after that relationship is still a byproduct of that initial relationship. So the way they interact with the person that they're with, the way they approach everything in the relationship is still hinged upon that point because that now has changed their entire outlook on relationships in general. And it looked like I have a weakness up in here. Maxi Keyboard just said true. So in order to truly get past it, in order to truly get past that emotional place that you got stuck, you have to process the emotion. You can try hide it, you can try sweep it under the rug, but if you don't process it, you're going to react to it. Like I said, it's like a volcano that is destined to erupt. It's there and the pressure builds and the pressure builds, but at some point, in order for it to achieve stability again, it has to erupt. And if you wait and keep that inside too long and allow that to build up to a point where eruption is the only release that it has, then it might be, you might end up on the news like so many people have ended up on the news because when they were stuck at an emotional point, instead of finding a healthy medium to work through it or to express it, they kept it in and kept it in too long and responded to it in a volatile way when they actually came to that point. I'm saying before it gets to that point, find that medium, find that healthy medium that you can use to express what it is you are stuck at, that point that you are stuck at, so that you can get through it. Like the narrative for the show said, you might need therapy. A lot of people out there think folks that look like me don't need therapy. Okay, folks like us are still people. We still have emotions, we still have feelings, and we're still, as the news articles tell us on a daily basis, not dealing with a lot of these things the way we should be. And that's why we're getting some of the results we want because we're not going through the process. I'm saying go through the process before you end up on the news. All right, now reacting to it is not processing it, neither is avoiding it. Okay, reacting to it is not processing it, avoiding it is not processing it. So when you say, yes, this happened, and I'm just gonna leave it and leave the person or whatever, but you still have the emotional trauma within you that you have not processed, you're not dealing with it. You're brushing it under the carpet. And it's just a matter of time before something is going to arise that is going to bring it back to the surface. And if it stays there long enough, it's going to come back to the surface in a way that's volatile and destructive to wherever you are at that time. And you have to look at it now. All of us have several people tied to us. If you're parents, you have kids. If you're not a parent, you have other family and friends that you have attached to you. You owe it to them. You owe it to yourself to have your true self represented. If you allow yourself to get stuck in that point because of this person, you are allowing whoever that person is to win. You are allowing that situation that you got stuck in to get the better of you. When you actually process it, when you actually come out the next end in a better place, then you're winning, because now you can actually move forward. Now you can actually see the person who offended you, and what the scripture say you have to do? You have to be nice to them and you heap coal upon them head, something like that. I did miss that day there Sunday school a little bit. But it say you should be nice to them. And I'm not necessarily being saying be nice to them. I'm saying get to a point where you can at least process. I have another witness in here. We're going to have altar call in a minute. Um, you have to get to the point where you can actually process it. Like you said, forgive and forget. But some of us try forget without the forgive. But if you don't do the forget now will go so well. You understand? Because you're sinking something down that needs to be worked through, and avoiding it is not processing it. Okay. So what's the plan? Identify positive options, identify different options, identify ways that we can actually work through. And like I said, as an author of poetry myself, that's what I advocate. It don't have to come out in the form of a poem. It can come out in the form of just journaling. It can come out in the form of just writing down your thoughts on paper. But that you have to run them through the process. You have to run them through the process. If they don't go through the process, they cannot get what they're supposed to. It's like, all right, it's like this. It's like you have a car and the car dirty and the car won't wash. You have to drive through the car wash where we're using the car wash scenario. You have to drive through the car wash. You can't dip on one side of the car wash. I say you want the car clean. You vex out the car clean. The car definitely want clean. You vex with somebody with dirty up the car, but you refuse to drive through the car wash. In order to get the car clean, you have to go through the car wash, because it is only on the other side of the car wash that the car wash gets clean. You see what I'm saying? You can't drive around the car wash. You can drive around the car wash either side, but the car doesn't get clean unless it goes through the car wash. Emotions are like that, where you can be on this side of the issue and you can sidestep the issue. On either side, you're sidestepping the issue. You can sit here and avoid the issue altogether. However, what the end result that you're seeking, you're not going to get unless you go through the issue. And I'm saying, don't sit and wait until the issue builds up to the point where when it comes out in the form of an eruption and disrupts your life, or irreparably puts you in a place you really didn't want to be in. Work through it. Write it down on paper if you have to. Go sit down on somebody's blue sofa if you have to and talk it through with them, because that is the only way emotions work. And everybody that out there that thinking, oh, I am this, I am that, I can do this, or I can do this, you are kidding yourself. You're one of them serious people that just serious every day and can't smile a beer screw face nowhere because you have some emotional trauma that you refuse to let go of. Or you think that you need to hold on to it for whatever reason. Let it go. I guarantee you it's easier to not carry this stuff around, because stuff has to be heavy. That stuff has to be heavy to carry around. Let it go. And if there are people that is tied to, that needs to get let go as well, let them go too. Because guess what? It's either you guys are working together to get to a better place, or they're working against you. And I'm not talking go out there and be paranoid. I don't want to say everybody out to get you. I'm saying if you can identify, say for example, it's a thing you do that you want to stop doing. You can't go associate with the people that still do the thing every day. It's not constructive. It's just going to put you in a more complicated situation than it needs to be in. Okay, and if it is a situation that you're in, you still have to find a way to go through it. If it's a conversation that you need to have, you need to sit down and have the conversation. If it's somebody that you need to reach out to and make them know so you forgive them and you move on, do that. Because if you are allowing yourself, I'll reiterate this, and this is my last point on this matter. If you are allowing yourself to be to be responding to this situation all this time, And whoever was the perpetrator of the act in the first place, or whatever misunderstanding there was that you never work out and allow a mole to become a mountain, if you are still hinged to that, you are stuck. You are stuck emotionally. And in order for you to really move forward, you have to work through it. You have to work through it. All right. And that's the poetry for mental wellness talk for the day. But we were on the Evening People show, and I thought I'd have been done in 30 minutes, and I just might be still. Like I said, I have some B-side poetry for you today. If you're joining late, the B-side poetry is poems that I wrote that I never published and that I may never publish. I might, I don't know. But for now, my loyal fans that have my book from the drop, I literally have friends I want to tell you all something real quick. When I just released this book, Love, Life, Confrontation, Expression, Selection, I don't even have a book in here. I'm at my satellite location, forgive me. Um, I actually called it Love, Life, Confrontation, Expressions, Selection from the Chronicles of Rasta. That is what the book was called initially. And there are a couple people who actually have books that is what it says on the cover. And then I revised it and re-released it as Love, Life, Confrontation, Expressions, Selections from the Chronicles of a Black Man, because I felt like it just had a wider spectrum when I did that, and that's why I went with it. So to all the people out there that have a book that says Love, Life, Confrontation, Expressions, Selections from the Chronicles of Rasta, bless up for yourself, because you guys were the first set of people that when the book drop, y'all go out there and get it. And I appreciate y'all. So for people like that had the book for a while, read the book, I like to have a B-side show sometimes so that them can still get some new content and still. But the poems I'm gonna read, I think all of them were written in 2011, 2012, so they were in that same space. Let's see if any of them actually ties to what we are talking before. I really just went down the line and chose like a few of them. The first one I'm going to read for you is called Talking Blues. I'm going to see if I can add it to the screen here for you real quick. All right, this is called Talking Blues. Like I said, I think there's a poem in the book called Talking Blues. There may be, but it's not this one. All right, here we go. Talking Blues. Just my luck she's taken. Feels a step from heartbroken. Plus, New York is miles away. Wish she'd come. Wish she'd stay. A lover of music, linguist at heart, her beautiful smile, I knew from the start. The feel of excitement as interest gets piqued. But then there is Joe, but then there's me. But but then what but then what to do? Won't dare violate. It's against all the rules. My youth, you're just late. Where's my page down? Why is my page down working? Well, this is unconstitutional. My youth, you're just late. Felt great though to meet her. Eligibility confirmed. Can't wait now to see her, irrespective of terms. Of whom do you speak? Who did you meet? Someone really special. I feel her vibration. Understanding the unspoken, bonds unbroken, potential untapped, like a gift unwrapped. What a youth skill. It seems quite unfair though. Still, it gives me hope that someone's still out there. This might still work. Yes, big up yourself. That one is called Talking Blues. And like I said, this is just somebody. This is somebody processing emotions. This is somebody processing emotions. This is somebody like my favorite line probably is the one that said, "My youth, you're late." This is somebody that met somebody else, and the person they met, they were excited about meeting the person, but the person had someone else. You know what I mean? Now it's simple, it's simple, but how many people have gotten themselves in some pickle over some exact situations like this, where you saw someone, they were already involved, you didn't let it go, you advanced to advance it, or you met the advances, or you advanced, and however long later, you're in a situation that is very, very, very complicated. Me attack, mix up, potentially toxic. And sometimes, if that is not processed properly, you will end up in a bad situation. You'll definitely end up in a bad situation, right? Let's see what else. Let's see what else we can find. I'm not going to get into these too much today. I have another one here called Taking Shape, and I'm gonna talk about taking shape. I hope y'all can see this. If one can't see it, sorry here. This one's called Taking Shape. It says day two, the details, perception on a broad scale, the must have, the can't stands. Are you affectionate? Can I hold your hand? The how will it work? Will I have to go to church? The how often? The how much? Is this real or just a crush? Is this real or just a crush? Will it stand the test of time? My hand in yours, your hand in mine. Will it go high and then fold or come through pure as gold? Putting it all out there up front, then reevaluate, say in a month. Objective analysis, then decide. Will you stand by my side? Developing an understanding, seeing the potential emerging, like a craftsman busy crafting something beautiful and long lasting. That sounds very nice, doesn't it? It sounds very nice. I like it. Um, and that point, Katie and I talk, I could have caused this. But in this scenario here, where this looks like two people who just met. We're talking about something that's taking shape. This sounds like two people in a position where they are evaluating where they're at to see if they're in fact compatible. There's questions being asked here like, how will it work? Will I have to go to church? How often? How much? Is it real? Is it a crush? This is somebody that is assessing a situation that is before them now, and asking or trying to find out, okay, is this something I want to move forward with? And again, like I said, when it comes to emotions and emotional things, it is better you take this approach where you sit down and process it, because guess what? There have been a lot of people who don't go through this part of the process where they see it, it feel nice, and then jump. And next thing you know, they drop flat because whoever they thought were going to catch them, they didn't spend time long enough to figure out whether or not the person they saw and perceived a particular way was the type of person that is gonna catch you if you fall. So when them close their eyes and jump, you ever see those trust exercises that they do when you go on these job retreats and you have to turn your back and fall and the rest of the teammate them supposed to catch you? One of those. Only they don't catch you. You drop and you have all kind of issues with your back going forward because you didn't evaluate the situation properly. You didn't ask the right questions. You didn't take heed to the signs that were staring you in the face. There's another poem that I have called, I think it's Toxic. In my art, gray area is one of them. And it says where the warning lights are flashing, but you tiptoe in. You see the warning lights flashing. And instead of walking, you tiptoe because what? You're still going in the situation that is going to give you the same result. And you are perceiving it. And instead of heeding it, you're moving forward. And then you might end up stuck in a place where you need to go through a process because you didn't go through the one you should have gone to before you allowed yourself to get to the point that you're at now. Right? Taking shape was that one. Let me see what else I can find for y'all real quick before we wrap this up. Uh, what else do I have here? I have one called The Connection. What is Miss Bolger saying? Saw one where the person fell forward. Saw one where the person fell forward instead of backward. Well, I hope they got caught. I hope the people that were there caught them, because that's a tougher fall if you fall forward, boy. All right, so we have one here called The Connection. I'm gonna read the connection for you real quick. All right, the connection says absolute and utter madness. Still, I get it. I like it's like on another level, yet I truly understand it. Be honest. I think I was to be honest, I think all right, I'm gonna start over. I didn't like any of that. All right, let's start over this one. I'm tongue tied up a little bit. I think I might need to sip on something in it. All right, here we go. The connection. Absolute and utter madness. Still, I get it. It's like on another level. Yet I understand it. To be honest, I think I possess it, or it possesses me, but I keep it safely hidden so no one else sees. But I see the same inside you. It's in your eyes like fire, like a burning flame. I it's a burning flame that can't be kept inside. But the effects are so frightening if they come out. But inside, they're stifling. You want to shout, want to lose control and rant and rave. If you only had a pistol, none would be saved. Mad cause you're happy, happy cause you're mad. Love, love you when I'm happy, hate you when I'm sad. Always consistent, but considering nothing. Always considerate, but considerate nothing. Actions deliberate, calculating everything. Motives ambiguously crystal clear. Only I would write something like this. Motives ambiguously crystal clear, ever changing like the style of my hair. Oppositely parallel, individually simultaneous. Did I mention crazy? Oh, yes, baby. That's us. And that was, what me say it name? That was the connection. And the connection, you can tell I wrote that a long time ago because that has U, the letter U, it has MA for my, it has a lot of things I no longer it has a lot of things I no longer use in writing. And that I'd not publish something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with the poem. It's a great poem. I like it, but I haven't written that way in a long time. But that right there sounds like a toxic relationship. It sounds like two people really that has just have a crazy connection to each other, and they probably are better off apart. And we mentioned relationship, spoken words. Yes, that would probably be one for spoken word. Yes, you are correct. If that's what you're saying. But yes, these are two people that have a toxic relationship. These are two people that shouldn't be together. Like it says, absolute. The first line of the poem says, absolute and utter madness. Still, I get it. Not only is it mad, it's on a whole nother level. Yet I understand it. It's two people that they don't belong together. They don't belong together, but and they know they don't belong together. But because of the parallel madness that they share, they're staying together, even though they shouldn't be. Right? All right. Now I read one talking blues before. I found another one here. I must have been listening to a lot of Bob Marley then. I probably have one or two more, and then we're gonna wrap this up. This is Talking Blues, and it says Talking Blues. What if I felt inspired? Just can't sleep, feeling wired. So I grab my pen, sleep writing, tired. Inspired thought from a mind that's shot, thinking of all I have to do and all the time I've got. Do I have time for a nap? For a nap? I think not. And every time, do I have time for a nap? I think not. So why are these? I hope I didn't press the mute button. So why are these thoughts flowing from my pen? Sleep is what I need. I've been up since 10. Just like last week, here we go again. Random thoughts from insomnia. I've got a plan. Should try drinking some liquor. Look at the time. I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Gotta go. Call me later. When sleep and tired meets inspired and crazy. Now, this sounds like the rambling of a crazy person. Is what that sounds like. That sounds like some crazy people rambling, is what that sounds like. Um, and it's funny that this poem came up because how many times have we made decisions in a state like this that we really shouldn't have made? How many times have we been in an altered state, as a friend of mine calls it? How many times have we been in an altered state and made decisions that we really should not have made? And as a result of it, we got a bad result. Um, Sometimes we have to, it's funny, they say you shouldn't go grocery shopping when you're hungry because you come home with a bunch of stuff you really don't need. An altered state can take many forms. Why would you go into the supermarket and buy a lot of stuff you don't need? Because you're in an altered state. Hungry puts you in an altered state. Alcoholic beverages put you in an alcoholic state. Being stuck in an emotional situation that you're not working through puts you in an altered. You saw what I did there? Yep, I saw what I did there. All right, let's see if I had any more queued up here. I have one more queued up here, and that's gonna be it. I'm sure I can't have any more. All right, I'm going to read one more poem for y'all. And thanks for being with me. We're going to jump over here. Volume 2 and 3 already, says Miss Porter. Volume 4 and 5 and 6 already. I'll be busy sometimes. All right, here we go. This one is called Blunder. And Blunder says, I didn't realize how much I missed you, or how elated I get when I kissed you, or what that look you have does to me, or that you are just absolutely sexy. I have messed up so royally. I don't know. All I know is that when I heard the door closed, I looked up, saw you, and my heart raced. So I greeted you with a warm embrace. So we walked to the table. As we walked to the table, I reminisced on you, on us, on the first kiss, on the ever subtle hints I missed. How could I have blundered like this? As I listened to you talk, I saw the bright light go dark. I fear you've lost that spark that I once lit in your heart. So now I sit here sad, thinking of the good times we had. But I know this is my blunder. I broke us asunder. Now the future is unclear as you move forward in fear of putting your heart out there at the mercy of someone who doesn't seem to care. But in spite of it, but in but in spite of, it still lies with you and on what it is you want to do. Will your heart allow you to accept and look to that which is not yet, or is it best to play it safe? Some things in life, sometimes some things in life, time just can't erase. The history books have the facts written. This chapter already smitten. From the record from the past, I hope there's nothing. Okay, good. From the record from the past, after all, he had his chance, and and what his heart should have pondered, he instead hastily squandered. Now, like I said, when you find yourself in these situations, peoples, what is this? This is somebody that has love and lost and realized that they are the one that messed up. They're in a bad situation. He said, I didn't realize how much I missed you or how elated I get when I kissed you. This is somebody that is missing somebody else. This is somebody that had something and mash up it. We talked about relationships being one of the situations that you can get emotionally stuck in. But instead of allowing themselves to be emotionally stuck, they're processing. They're using writing, they're using poetry, they're using journaling, they're using a constructive outlet to process the feelings that they're feeling so they don't end up stuck. That is where we started the event today. That is where we're going to end the event today. We talked about poetry, using poetry for mental wellness. We talked about being emotionally stuck, whether you were stuck with something that happened in your childhood, whether it was some traumatic childhood experience, whether it was some romantic relationship, whether it was some friendship that you're stuck in. We talked about some options that you have, finding some medium that allows you to constructively express and process these emotions, because if you do not, you are now a byproduct of that situation. And you, whoever you are out there, you are more than a byproduct of any situation, especially a situation that is going to hold you back. If you find yourself right now thinking, you know what, this might be me, anything Martin said today could apply to me in any way, shape, or form, check yourself. Check if you are in a position where you have allowed yourself to become emotionally stuck on something, and figure out a way to move through it. Because because here's what gets us sometimes. What gets us sometimes is that we can't see through to the other side. We feel like we're in a tunnel and we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm saying keep moving forward, because the light is at the end of the tunnel. It is not an everlasting tunnel. It does end, but sometimes some tunnels are longer than others, right? So you might not snap back like you did last time. It's like me and my weight right now. I used to snap back quite faster than I'm snapping back now, mate. In it, me feel like I work out hard and the skill now work with me. What am I gonna do? Stop working out and sit down and just embellish getting bigger than I want to be? No, I'm gonna keep working out, and ultimately I know that the result is going to come at the end. If you find yourself in a situation like this where you feel like you're not snapping back as fast as you used to, from an emotional trauma, from an emotional experience that you had that has you tied, just keep moving. Take up journaling, go see a therapist, take up poetry writing, take up singing, go take up back dancing. When you used to go Manchester High School, you used to play that's something your name? The flute. You used to play the flute. Go take up the flute and play it. Do something to actually ease you through it, because you are more than a byproduct of any situation that life has thrown you. You're much more than that. So go out there and be great. Thank you for checking in. If you're here and you have not yet subscribed to the Martin Matthews Project on YouTube, go do that. I will be here next week. Next week, I'll be at another satellite location. I should have Julian Lee on the show next week. I'm really looking forward to having Julian Lee on the show. It should be a really good show. And I appreciate y'all staying with me. I hope something I said has a positive impact on you and you can take something from, because that's really what we're trying to do here, mate. You know what I mean? All right, bless upon yourself. Until next time, like, subscribe, share, get a book, read a book, write a book. And whatever you do, stay safe. Blessings.